Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss about natural vegetation and wildlife. So first thing, before we talk about natural vegetation, what is natural vegetation, what is wildlife and their other aspects, let us understand first what is biosphere, because the life exists in biosphere and that's why it is also known as sphere of life. And then we'll move on to discuss about specific features of natural vegetation and wildlife. So we have already, you must have studied about it in class 7 I guess, about different spheres of earth like lithosphere and atmosphere and hydrosphere. So lithosphere is what? Look at here. Lithosphere is the land part of the earth, okay. Hydrosphere, the water body of the earth, and atmosphere is the air body of the earth, okay. So apart from these three spheres, there is another sphere, that is biosphere, and that interacts with all these three spheres, okay. So biosphere is nothing but is made up of all the parts of the earth where life exists. So the interaction of hydrosphere, lithosphere and atmosphere makes life possible in this narrow area, and that is known as biosphere. Now another related component is ecosystem, okay. So let us understand the concept of ecosystem. So an ecosystem is any geographical area, okay, any geographical area where living things means like plants, animals, इसमें और भी चीजें आ जाएंगी, insects etc, and non-living things such as air, water, sunlight interact with each other and makes life possible. Look, life will not be possible, plants cannot live without air, they cannot live without water, and they cannot live even without sunlight, because sunlight is necessary for plants to make food. Through sunlight, the green plants, okay, the plants makes their food, and then those green plants were eaten by, are eaten by some herbivores, the animals that eat grasses, okay, vegetarian food you can say, and then those animals like deer etc are eaten by then tigers, okay. So this is how the life becomes possible and it keeps continuing in an area. So that particular area will be known as ecosystem, where these living things like plants, animals interact with non-living things like water, sunlight, air, etc. Now we'll come to our main topic, that is natural vegetation. So first thing, what is natural vegetation? Okay, so simple, vegetation refers to the plant life, okay. And natural, what is the meaning of natural? Natural means the thing which are not produced by the human being, okay. Natural means they have grown on their own. So the natural vegetation refers to plant community, means trees, plants, which has grown naturally without human interference. Means the plant community means trees and plants that have grown on their own. We have not planted them, means human have not planted them, okay. So if you have planted a trees in your garden, so that would not be considered as natural vegetation. So natural vegetation would be considered the plant community that is growing on their own, like in forests. So natural vegetation includes trees, grasslands, grasses, shrubs and bushes, okay. So all these four types of plant community comes under natural vegetation. Now, what are the importance of natural vegetation? Okay, why we should be concerned about natural vegetation, why we should study about natural vegetation? First thing, that natural vegetation we get timber, it provides a timber, है ना, लकड़ी प्रोवाइड करती है, इससे हम बहुत चीज़ें बनाते हैं, ठीक है. We make our houses, especially in mountainous areas, we see a lot of houses built of timber. Okay, so another is home of wild animals, natural vegetation, the forest in which a lot of wild animals like tigers, lions, elephants, they live. So they do not live in a particular house like us, okay, in 1 or 2 BHK home, etc. So the wild animals live in forest, in natural vegetation. Okay, so for that, natural vegetation is necessary, and we are destroying forests, and that's why we are also killing a lot of wildlife like tigers and elephants, etc. And they are also moving towards human habitation, and a lot of human animal conflict is taking place because we are destroying their home, and because of that they are coming out of that home and towards the human settlement, and because of that a lot of conflict takes place. Natural vegetation also produces oxygen, okay, that is very, very essential for survival of any life. Okay, we need oxygen. It also protects soil. If there are plants and trees on the land, then it reduces the soil erosion because it keeps holding the soil tightly. And next, it also helps in recharge of groundwater, because if there are many trees and plants, it reduces the speed of flow of water, and then the water uh, starts percolating down, and it increases the groundwater level. But if there are no trees, then water will flow down, and there will not be much time to recharge groundwater. Okay, next is that natural vegetation also provides us fruits, nuts, medicinal plants. A lot of medicinal plants we get from forest, that is very, very essential for our health. Okay, next, what is wildlife? Okay, so wildlife, if suppose you are domesticating, you are keeping a cow or a goat at your home, they will not be considered, those animal will not be considered wildlife, because wild means forest. Okay, so the animals, undomesticated animal species, undomesticated, okay, means the animals that is not domesticated by the human being. So undomesticated animal species include all organisms that grow or live wild in an area without being introduced by the humans. Okay, so without introduced by the humans, so all the animal life that is growing, that is living in an area without any human interference. Okay, humans are not domesticating them, and humans have not introduced them even. So it includes like animals like tiger, aquatic life forms, also the, the life forms that live in water like crocodile, fishes, insects also, yeah? Like these butterfly and these insects. So it includes, wildlife includes all these life forms. Importance of wildlife, why, what are the importance, why should we consider, why we should be concerned about wildlife? Because wildlife provides a lot of thing to humans, and we should be concerned about them because it provides us milk. Look at here, it provides us hides, है ना, खाल जिसकी हम यूज करते हैं. It also provides us meat, and it also provides us wool, ठीक है, for woolen textile. During winter season we need woolen textile. Now, threats. What are the threats to wildlife? First, deforestation. Okay, we are destroying and cutting trees in the forest, so it destroys the habitat, the home of the wildlife. We talked about in previous slides that natural vegetation, the forest, is home of wildlife. So if you are destroying their home, obviously they will have to go out somewhere else, and in that way their life is in danger. Forest fire, sometimes a big, a fire broke out in forest, and it kills people, it kills a lot of wildlife. Very recently, a forest fire which was at a great scale in Australia, and it killed almost about 2 billion uh, animal life in Australian forest. So forest fire is a very big threat to wildlife. Poaching is what? Illegal hunting of animal life for their precious parts like ivory. Okay. uh, for elephant, hunting of elephant for ivory, and hunting of rhinoceros for its horns, which is here. Okay. And poisoning, sometimes what happens is that we use different medicines to treat our animals, and after those animals die, then we leave them at a particular place, and the vultures, they used to, they used to feed on these dead animals. And because those medicines are still available in the body of those dead animals, those medicines are not suitable for the life of these vultures. So if they will eat the meat of those dead animals, they die. And this was the case with this vulture. We used to treat livestock with some medicine, diclofenac. Okay. And when the vultures used to eat those dead animals, and their kidney used to be damaged by this diclofenac. And look at here, a lot of vultures have died due to this poisoning. Okay, so poisoning is also a very important threat. Okay, it's very crucial threat to wildlife. So we should keep in our mind that these are the threats and how we can reduce these threats to wildlife, because it reducing the wildlife. We talk about that, tiger population is decreasing. Even cheetah, the Indian cheetah, has become extinct, means it is not found in India now. Means there is not even a single piece of single species, single population of cheetah is available in India. So these are the problems. Now, factors of growth of vegetation. What are the factors which are responsible for the growth of vegetation? So there are two factors, two climatic factors: temperature and water or rainfall. Okay, so temperature is necessary to make food, and water is also necessary, because without water also they cannot make food, and water is also essential for survival for the plants or vegetation. So the climate and vegetation. What is the impact of climate on vegetation? So look at here, if the area is having an area which is having heavy rainfall, you will find dense and taller trees in that area. If the area is having moderate rainfall, so the height of trees reduces, and you'll find grasses and stunted trees. If low rainfall, then you'll find bushes, thorny vegetation, katili jhadiyan, etc. And if an area is having very low temperature, then you will find lichens and mosses. Okay. So this is the impact of climate on vegetation. broad classification of forest means natural vegetation. So this is the broad, there are many classification, but this is the broad classification. One is evergreen forest, we can say that, and another is deciduous forest. Okay, deciduous forest. Evergreen, as the name suggests, it looks green forever. Okay, so looks green throughout year because trees do not shed their leaves simultaneously in any one season. So all the trees that is available in this forest, they do not shed their trees in one season simultaneously. Okay, another is deciduous forest, in which what happens that trees shed their leaves simultaneously in any one season. So in one season you will see that this forest will look dry. Okay, you will not find any green trees in this forest, deciduous forest, in a particular season, because all trees simultaneously shed their leaves to save water. Okay, this evergreen forest will be found in areas where you will have abundant rainfall, and deciduous forest you will find in areas where there is less amount of rainfall, and in order to preserve water moisture, trees shed their leaves, because through leaves water is getting evaporated, and that will result in loss of water. So in order to preserve whatever water is available, the trees in deciduous forest shed their leaves. You can see here the photographs of these two uh, forest types. Look at here, this is evergreen forest and this is deciduous forest. Look at, you can see a lot of leaves on the ground. Okay, so this is how deciduous forest will look, and this is how evergreen forest will look. Now, distribution of natural vegetation in India, we can see here that this is the evergreen forest, the green areas. Okay, and this is also the area of abundant rainfall, and this area is also the area of abundant rainfall. Okay, and so the areas where rainfall is abundant, you will find evergreen forest. Now, threats to natural vegetation and wildlife. So deforestation, okay, construction activities, building of roads, etc. In through forest fires and poaching. So this is the common threat to natural vegetation and wildlife both. You can see here few newspaper cuttings on wildfire, how much damage wildfire causes to wildlife. Okay, now the conservation strategies and methods for natural vegetation and wildlife. How to conserve natural vegetation and wildlife. So in this chapter it has been mentioned three conservation strategies. First is to construct conservation areas, next is awareness programs, and third is international treaties. First we'll discuss about conservation areas, like the government will declare, will create some national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, biosphere reserves, awareness program like social forestry, One Mahotsav, and international treaties site. What does site means, we'll discuss on later, next slide. So site is what? Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Okay, fauna means wildlife and flora means natural vegetation. So it is an international agreement between governments, okay, between several countries. And what is the main aim of its agreement? That international trade in wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. So it regulates international buying and selling of important animals and plants, like this giant panda, and this some fishes, and these are coral reefs. Okay, so these are the few plants and animals that has been protected under this agreement. Okay, so these are the few, there are many, so I have not listed them here. Okay, so this is an international agreement, so this is one way, one strategy, so that we can protect animals. You know that there are a lot of illegal buying and selling of these animals and plants takes place. Okay, so we should prohibit this kind of trade activity. Now we'll come to the national parks. So a national park is a park in use for conservation purpose, created and protected by national government. गवर्नमेंट जो है एक पर्टिकुलर एरिया को नेशनल पार्क डिक्लेयर करेगी, सो दैट दे कैन प्रोटेक्ट the trees and animal life of that area. So it will prohibit all the illegal activities, the cutting of trees, and entry and exit into that park is also regulated by the government. You'll have to specify your purpose to visit that national park. You'll have to give details about that, what you want to do there. So a lot of checks have been placed if you want to visit national parks. So in that way the government ensures that no illegal person goes there and do some kind of illegal activities. Okay, killing animals illegally and cutting the trees illegally. So this is the purpose of national park. So you can see here on the map of the India, there are several national parks that has been located on the map of India. So you can just have a look. Okay, next, wildlife sanctuary. So wildlife sanctuary means simple, the main purpose of wildlife sanctuary is to conserve wildlife. Okay, so wildlife sanctuary is an area where the wildlife is protected in their natural habitat. Wherever the particular wildlife, the animal is living, the government tries to protect them. Okay, so no human is allowed there without an escort, means without government official or some person, so that they can keep an eye on those persons so that they cannot harm those animals. So the capturing, killing and poaching of animals is strictly prohibited in these regions. If you do that, you will be punished. Okay, and the punishment is very severe. So these are the wildlife sanctuary that has been shown on the map of India. Okay, next is biosphere reserves. This is much bigger. Okay, so biosphere reserves are the sites to promote sustainable development. So it is not only about plant protection and wildlife protection, it is about protecting the whole ecosystem, even the human being that is living there. Okay, so the structure of biosphere looks something like this. There will be a core zone. Okay, so this is the core zone in green. Okay, in green. So core zone is the very reserved zone. No activity will not no activity will be allowed in this core area. And then there is a buffer zone, some activity may be allowed in this zone. Okay, and then there is some transition areas, and then human settlement. You can see that there are human settlement also in biosphere reserves. So biosphere reserves tries to protect the whole area, the whole ecosystem, even the people that is living there. You can do some kind of research, education and training you can do in this transition area. tourism you can do in this transition area, but not in the core area. So this is the characteristics of biosphere reserve and the purpose. The purpose of the formation is to conserve in situ all forms of life. Okay, so and this program was started by the UNESCO in 1971. Okay, this is the important fact that you should keep in your mind, that the concept of biosphere reserve was initiated by UNESCO in 1971. So these are the few biosphere reserves in India. Okay, now the exercise questions and answer. So we'll make a separate video for exercise questions and answers.